my position on the matter was, after looking into it and living through certain events, I felt we could have gotten more. Being a businessman, very often the first offer is not the best offer. And while people are anxious to get their hands on money, I don't look at it that way. I look at it, what is the best offer we can get? And I think, in my opinion, that it wasn't analyzed properly. We weren't even able to analyze it because our own lawyers refused to give us our records back so that we could look at them and see if there was something else we could hang our hat on. We still don't have our records. We have our check, but we don't have our records back. The question is, will we ever get our records back? So in working with people like that, where they are making all the decisions and they're not giving you any input, I question that, and my feeling was that we could have gotten a better settlement if we were a little bit more patient. We were going to get something because they were coming after us and saying, here, take this money.
That was supposedly the best
listen,
offer.
You're asking me a question, is that right? Or do you want to give the answer?
I have something to add to it.
Well, let me finish the sentence. Okay? So that is my story. I think we could have gotten considerably more. Okay? But I'm a businessman, and I've dealt with settlements before and lawyers before, and I have my way of looking at these things. I respect the people who felt that they needed to get the money right away and there was a need to have the money in hands, but I disagree. It wasn't that I felt we weren't going to get money. I felt that we were too anxious to get the money. Okay, that's my answer to the question if you were listening.
Okay, Jerry, do you intend to live here 6 months of the year and not live here 6 months of the year?
Sarah, I'm so glad that you asked that.
So I'm glad.
Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah, I have an answer for that.
Good.
Okay? Basically, if I had my druthers, I'd rather not be here in the summertime, and I think most of us feel that way. Okay?
Me too.
That's fair to say. And I haven't been. I've been a 6-month snowbird. But I found myself in a situation this summer where my father was in the hospital on 2 occasions, and he lives in Forest Trace, and I was nominated amongst the family, siblings, to come back and take care of him. So because of that, I am stuck is not a good word, but I am remaining here. He's only 96 3/4. He's looking to live to 100. So if he reaches his goal, I will be stuck here for another 3.5 years, or I will be remaining here for another 3.5 years.
So in the next 3 years, you're going to live here
Well,
12 months a year?
I would believe that while my father is alive and needs my assistance, I will be here. Once he's not, if I should outlive him, and I'm hoping to outlive him, then once that happens, if I'm on the board and I had any executive capacity, I would resign my executive capacity. I think you can still remain on the board if you're here for 6 months. I keep my 6-month board membership and I resign my executive position on the executive committee.
Well, Michael doesn't even live here.
I believe our condo docs require that you live here 9 months a year.
Well, Michael doesn't here.
No, there's another part of the question.
There's one.
Another
I
part.
wanted to finish my question, which was the insurance for that Pegasus deal was $1 million. So that was the maximum. So I thought that I would think the insurance deal for Pegasus was for $1 million. We got $1 million. If we held out for more, we may not have gotten more.
I don't think that you're not on the board. I know your husband.
No, but
I think you're misinformed. My understanding was we had a settlement of $1,250,000. We just don't hit her, please. We just netted $939,000, but that's not what the settlement was. The settlement was over $1 million.
Right, Jerry, since you're not aware of what the facts are, the maximum amount in the Mercury insurance policy was $1 million.
That's
They
untrue.
agreed to give.
$1 million per occurrence, thank you, Joe.
Yeah, if per occurrence,
Okay.
one occurrence. So it's
So
$1
it's $2
million.
million.
So you could sue them from today till tomorrow, you won't get a penny more. So
Listen.
your answer was incorrect. As usual, you see it the way you want, and you lied again.
The settlement was $1,250,000.
Let's try to keep this to questions only, please.
Jerry, I think this is an important question. You know, we have a lot of illegal residents living in International Village. Maybe 150 to 200. We don't know who they are. We have people that walk in and out the gate freely. We have, this past week, the police were called 3 times to the Yorkshire building. They came with police cars, rifles, they surrounded the building. They found that the occupant of Yorkshire 10 made bomb threats, a very violent individual, and this is an increase in our lack of security. My question is, on your 3.5 months on the board as president, what have you done to improve the security, physically done, either in any kind of program, any plan? Nothing was submitted to the board. We know nothing. There's been no investigation of the records. Nothing has been done that's come to me on the board. What do you claim you have done?
What has not been done for the first 9 months of the year? Yeah. Previous, Jerry.
Do you want to answer that question, Kim?
I was going to answer what has been done until you arrived.
Yeah, well, no, the problem is really being able to address problems as a united board instead of fighting with one another. What I did try to do as soon as I got on the board was get together a security committee meeting because I wanted to make a presentation that our security company had made to us last year about giving us better security at the gate. And I also had a proposal that I discussed about how we could pay for it with money that we already are spending, giving to the security company. But I was never able to get that meeting together. I had scheduled a meeting, I had posted it on the board, and it never happened. So it's just this 3.5 years, feel like 3.5 years, this 3.5 months that I've been on the board, it's just been trying to learn how to work with the people on the
Okay,
board.
so you acknowledge that you tried and it didn't work. Okay, that's where we are today. Starting today, what are you going to do about these guys coming with rifles, people bomb threats, people coming in the gate, people, illegal residents in every building? A lot of complaints coming into the board every day from residents who are having problems with their neighbors. I know a lot of you have experienced that. Nothing is done. What are you going to do from here on?
What am I going to do? I'm one member on the board. I'm not a czar, as maybe some people might like to project. What we need to do is get the board together, and we need them to address that issue. And it's a very important issue, security. But I'm only one person, and with all the fighting that goes on, we had the most peaceful board meeting on Tuesday because, frankly, I have to say, the 3 minority board members were not in attendance in a concerted effort a few hours before the meeting to tell us they're not going to come and show up because I insist on having the meetings videoed, and they would like to have telecommunication. I'm answering the question, Scott, okay? The answer to the question is, it's a board decision, it's not my decision. I agree with you 100%. It's something that needs to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed at the board level.
Okay, next question.
Based on security. 5 years ago, and I'm going to ask this question of everybody. 5 years ago, I made a suggestion on security. We take the outgoing gate and we put a sliding gate in there, electrically operated, and it was never acted upon, it was voted down, it was, we don't have the money, it was someday we'll do this, someday we'll do that, just before we can. Do you as a cohesive board of directors feel that that could be accomplished with the $950,000?
Are you saying that you want to keep the people in, your people, let's say criminals or whatever, you want to keep them in so we can tackle them and catch them?
No, there is very easy access to this.
You're not talking about leaving, you're talking about people coming in.
I'm talking about people using
Right.
the exit.
We're not going to solve that at this
No, you're
meeting.
not, but
We need to address all those issues,
But
you're
I have
right.
a question. We have $900,000 that would probably handle that part of the question, of the problem.
Right.
Can we?
There's a lot of uses for the money, and it's a question of priorities. Roofs come first. You know, there's certain things that come first.
There's 3 more minutes in this 20-minute session, and we got 5 people in line.
I just want to say one thing. It's all well and good to vote for new board members, but what good is it? And there is no harmony here, and there never is. We have people that fight us all the time. Are you going to be?
Use the mic. Can't hear you.
Are you people going to work in harmony, or are we going to have this fighting every time we have a board meeting? It's disgraceful. If you're going to work in harmony, we'll vote to you. If not, we don't want you on the board.
Yes or no?
I'm
I'm
not
a
just
peacekeeper.
everybody.
No, I'm a peacekeeper. I don't lose my temper. I keep my calm. I listen to every side and every issue. Okay?
Sounds good, you know, it's the right way to go if it's a possibility. It's really the best way to go.
Michael.
The high road is always the best, but regarding security, I also have an idea that will cost us virtually nothing. And I think what we're missing here in the village is a real police officer with a badge and a gun. And this is accomplished in other communities, particularly apartment complexes, where they have a courtesy police officer living on the property with a marked car. And in exchange for a break in the housing costs, he covers the property 2 hours a day or on a certain number of hours a week and responds to complaints, suspicious activity. And we could take one of the foreclosed apartments, one of the vacant, unused apartments, acquire them, and for the cost of maintenance
That has
and
to
the cost
sum it up,
of
Michael.
we could get a courtesy police officer living here to answer the inquiries from our building captains.
Sarah, address the question. Work in harmony.
She knows that. We try the best to work in harmony.
Okay, Sarah, right? Sarah? You're next.
Jerry, are you aware of the fact that when I came to live here in '99 and Scott was president, we had a murder?
Yep,
An intrafamilial murder.
right.
What's your question? What's your question?
Which I said, are you aware? Okay?
I am.
Are you aware? And do you know why we held Scott responsible for the murder?
Why not?
Okay, guys, we got to keep focus here.
Get that man, arrest that man, quick.
Next question here.
Okay, we have a return, as is said, of $600,000 in the original mortgage, we want to call it a loan, that we did not use. People are still paying interest on it. I paid it in full, as did others, and I would like my money back, if you're not going to take that
People are paying
$600,000.
interest on what?
I beg your pardon?
People are paying interest on what?
On the $600,000 that was not used by the former repair committee, or whatever you want to call it.
We didn't draw down
We
600
didn't draw it
line of
down.
credit, is that what you're saying?
But we are paying for it monthly. When I say we, the whole company, I have paid it in full, as have others. I would like my share back and stop paying interest on it.
You directed your question to.
Arthur just is whispering to me, and he's saying, Arthur's saying we didn't pay interest on money we didn't draw down, but what he is saying, that our assessment payments were based on the full amount of the loan. You're not listening, Arthur. He's saying that our assessment payments were based on the $7 million. And that's actually what he's saying. We didn't borrow $600,000, so he wants the interest on that $600,000 that he wasn't paying on. Is that what you're saying, Bob? Yeah. All right, well, we'll have to bring that up at the next board meeting. Okay, okay.
He wanted you to address this too as well. Excuse me, folks.
Did you pay it off in full, Bob?
Yeah.
Then what are you talking about? Then there's nothing, if you paid it off in full, you're not involved.
Yes, I am.
How?
Because you didn't use it, you didn't borrow it. You took my money to pay for a loan of $7 million, but you only took $640,000.
All right, but I don't think we're prepared to deal with that tonight. Okay, but that's a good point. We'll bring it up. Okay. Okay, fine. But give us a break. Not tonight.
Say something.
Next question.
Say something.
Okay, this is for Jerry. Jerry, I'm going to address you as the president now. 2 months ago.
Wait, I'm not the president.
Okay, as a future board member, if you're chosen.
I didn't.
2 months ago, I complained of illegal renters. You intervened. You said that a week after that, you would try to have an enforcement rules committee. Then you came to my door at night with backbiters, uninvited. And as of now, I reported it a couple of days ago, there is a new illegal renter living in the same unit. So nothing has been done. You're the president now. If you are elected and continue to be on the board, what are you planning to do about these issues?
I'd like to look at these issues less emotionally and more businesslike, okay? And I'm not going to get into the details right here now, but I think some of our rules need to be reviewed, and they need to be, some common sense needs to be made out of them that protects the owners and gives the residents. I don't think I can get into the whole issue right here. I know where you're coming from. I know your position on the matter. I know what's happening now, and the reason it's happening now is because the ladies, please, you have to listen to me. Well, and some of the rules are a little confusing, but this is not the place for it, Melissa.
Ladies
It's a
and
whole
gentlemen,
big story.
we got one last question. We hit the 20-minute mark. If you have any other questions, I'm sure the candidates will make themselves after we complete.
This is for everyone. I wish you'd pay attention to me, like you want to the ladies do. Okay. Across the street, they gated their community and they put a fence and they spoke, so if anyone tried to jump over the fence, they would get hurt. I was told, I've seen many times people jumping over our fence and we don't have those spokes, and I was told that it's illegal to have spokes, yet across the street they have them. People can just walk in here and walk out of here. They come through, they're not even ID'd, or sometimes they are, many times they are. But why is it across the street they can have those spokes and we can't? And why can't something like that be done? And also, Susie Orman always says you have to pay your bills before you save your money. So reserve sometimes is insignificant unless you have tons of money and then you can save. But if you can't pay bills, you can't save.
All right, so just a question to each of you. We'll start with Terry this time.
Why can't we have votes?
That's right.
Yeah, I would imagine you could argue it with zoning committees and so forth. Since one has it, you might be able to get it approved here. You could probably argue it then, it could be taken before zoning committee or something like that with the city of Lauderdale. If they've got it in one place, lots of times they'll have to allow it. It's possible, it's something we could look at. I don't know what the cost would be.
I go.
I think, are you referring to the wall by the river? Yeah, with the water. No, I know the Las Vistas fence, but where people are coming over the wall, I understand it's the parking lot by Bordeaux. Yeah. Well, maybe we could put some like black grease on top of the wall.
If I may, there is a wonderful security plan, as Jerry mentioned, that has been offered us by Interstate for well over a year, which covers raising the fence and changing the front gates and so on. So, you know, it is my hope that the new board members will care enough, since it's been lingering and been talked about and not acted on, to really look at this wonderful plan and
Okay,
to
thank you.
bring
Mrs.
it.
Wolf. Mrs. Wolf. Well, then what's your maiden name? I can't hear your Wolf. What's your maiden name? You can't be Ms. Wolf. That's illegal. What's your name? Ms. Wolf. Never heard of that. But okay, the answer to the question is, my answer to the question is, I've owned a unit in Las Vistas for about 10 years. You're not familiar with the problems they have in Las Vistas, because they don't have guards at the gate. And when that, you want my answer or you want to tell me something? I own a property there, I have a tenant that lives there. Okay, it's not, they used to hire a security man before they had that gate. They had a security cop that went around there, drove around there in the evening. And according to my understanding, they felt safer with a real live policeman and a cop driving around there than they do with that gate. So that gate, you don't think that people, they may not go over it, they may just go in the door when the door opens because there's right behind the car. So they have plenty of problems over there, believe me. Well, I understand, but I'm just telling you, you're equating security with spikes. Is not necessary in that case, because maybe if they had spikes and they had a guard, that might mean something.
Okay, we got Michelle's the last candidate to address the question. Can we stay quiet until we're complete?
I think having spikes, if it would look well with the village and it was affordable and it would be a way to help prevent people from going over the gate, is a way to help resolve it. But it's not necessarily getting also rid of the security guard. Okay? I think, you know, it has to be something that looks into and the expense and the cost, but if one place has it, there's no reason why another can't.
Not done yet. All right. All right, at this time we are going to conclude this evening's Meet the Candidates. I'm sure they'll stick around for coffee and cake or what have you. If you have any further comments, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. And thank you.
That we have discord, and that's what doesn't happen. We have to hell with the lawyer, we're going to do it. You can't do certain things. That's wrong.
Scott,
This
I don't
is what
agree
pees
with
me
you.
off.
No, I got a legal opinion, and you had to get another legal opinion. I got a legal
Donneberger, our attorney, said it's absolutely
and,
no.
and Michael Berger said that it was, whatever his name is. I think it's Michael Berger.
Bender?
Bender, yeah, Bender said it was.
Recently?
First, he said it first.
When? Years, a month ago?
No. When we originally, the first time that subject came up, I wrote to you. You don't read my emails. I wrote to you. I said Michael
never
Bender
told
said it
me.
was. I wrote
Michael,
an email.
did you ask his boss?
I don't need to ask his boss.
Why?
Why would I ask two lawyers in the same
He works
firm?
for Robert
I
Kay.
don't- So what? He's a lawyer. He's got a degree.
Do you know what he also did? He did a lot of things wrong here, Michael
I don't
Bender.
know. I only asked him a simple question: is an e-vote considered proper? He said it's proper if it's ratified at the next board meeting. That was the whole thing, and I paid for the.
How could it be ratified at the next
I'm not
board
a
meeting
lawyer.
if it's not on the agenda?
It gets put on the agenda.
There's only
It's
one.
put on the agenda. You're smarter than I am about
Listen,
that.
I'm telling you.
All I did was ask the lawyer that
listen
question.
to me, please.
Yeah, okay.
If you don't have something on the agenda,
right,
and you want to put it on,
right,
the board has to vote to put it on. You can't make up an item to come on the agenda. The board has to approve putting it on the
You mean
agenda.
our meetings, the agendas for our meetings, before we come to the meetings, has been approved by all the board members? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying what you
saying?
post 48 hours before.
Yeah, that's the agenda.
That's the agenda.
Right,
If you
and
want to, you always can add something. Something
Right,
comes
at
up.
the meeting, right,
Okay.
right. But
Okay.
that agenda,
Yeah, okay.
I thought Howard was
Wait, let me
making
explain to you.
agenda based on the input from the board
If you
members.
bring something up at a board meeting,
Right,
and the board approves it, but it wasn't on the agenda,
right.
that's the only time you can ratify anything. You can't have a vote on the internet and then ratify.
Scott, I asked a simple question, okay? In my format, you understand much more than I do.
Well, then you should defer to some of these things.
Why defer to the lawyer?
No,
I would defer to you if we didn't have an antipathy toward one another.
I got no problem. If I said to you it's illegal, Jerry, you say, show me or tell me. And I do the best I can. Some things are not written, but some things you can get an opinion. And if you got it from Michael Bender, did you get it in writing?
I didn't get it in writing.
You know why?
But I had a witness.
Do you know why?
I had a witness.
No.
I had a witness.
But do you know why it wasn't written?
I don't know.
Because if he did that, he'd lose his job.
Well,
you ask him. You paid for him, right? Tell him to put it in writing. I bet he doesn't give it to you.
Okay.
$10.
I'm not a better. Thank you, Scott. How the fuck do you turn this to?